Welcome everybody. I don't think welcomes to anywhere in the world get much warmer than that. But it's my pleasure to welcome you all to Social Enterprise World Forum 2018. There are, I got a woo there. Yeah, can I get another woo? There are 1,400 delegates from 47 different countries around the world gathered here in Edinburgh today for 2.5 days of celebration and showcasing of the best in social enterprise thinking and doing. It's been a decade since Edinburgh played host to this event, and a lot has changed in social enterprise for the better. I really look forward to the next 2.5 days being something that can shape the next 10 years of social enterprise, make it bigger and make it better and make it more impactful for the people that we work every day to serve. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alan Mahan. I am the founder of a social enterprise craft beer brand called Brewgooder, and we have a very simple but very naively ambitious, I guess, mission to provide 1 million people with clean drinking water through the power of craft beer. And we've made a decent start, but there's still a long way to go. When I was asked to host today, I was pretty honoured. In front of me are 1,400 of the most game-changing, most inspiring people on our planet, I guess. You wake up every single day and you try to make the world a better place, whether that be for the people in your communities or your countries, or even people that you might not ever see and might not get the chance to thank you, or for the planet. And for me, it's hugely humbling to be able to have the opportunity to participate today. I want to get some thank yous out of the way. It's very important with an event like this that you understand that it takes an awful lot to put something like this together. So I want to extend a big thank you to the Social Enterprise World Forum Board and Advisory Group and our partners can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. Our partners in Scottish Government, British Council, CEIS and Social Enterprise UK. But a massive thank you to all the sponsors that you see on these boards, particularly our platinum sponsors, which without these guys, events like this are very, very difficult to put on. So I'd like to extend a massive thank you to Johnson & Johnson, PwC and SAP. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to our Young Talent Programme, which is also sponsored by PwC. These guys are the next generation of social enterprise leaders, and they've been doing they're on a week-long programme in Edinburgh, and they'll be joining us from the Tinto Room via a live stream, which is also being broadcast on the Social Enterprise World Forum 2018 Facebook page to a global audience. If you're like me, and you like having a nosy, there are 49 different exhibitors down in the Cromdale Hall on level -2 and in the Strathblane foyer, which you came in, and they've got great products and services from the world of social enterprise. So I'd strongly encourage you to, in between sessions, go down, have a look and fill your socially enterprising boots with some really good products. Who's this person that keeps wooing? I need you closer to the front. We also have a Social Enterprise World Forum app. We'll be showing a little video about that in a second, but that can be downloaded on your device from the App Store, anywhere where you can get apps on your device. The video will show you how it works, but we've also got a little game within it, which is called Click. Now, Click is a photo scavenger hunt, and that helps you navigate not just the conference but the beautiful city of Edinburgh. And basically you go around and you start taking photos of things that are built into the app. The top 5 snappers will win prizes from PwC, British Council, SAP, Elvis and Cress and the Shetland Soap Company. Now, big woo, big woo. So just to let you behind the curtain of this host, I use the Shetland Soap Company's beard soap. It's an awesome product, so by all means take part in the game, but I'm winning that prize, okay? If I have to fix it, I'll make that happen. When you do download the app, please, 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 for the love of God, put on the push notifications. Any changes to the events, to the programs, to anything will be in that app, so please make sure that you're notified.
Welcome to Social Enterprise World.
Sorry.
Welcome
Okay, that was not where I expected it to be. So, I'm going to talk about social media. Please feel free to use our social media channels, share some inspiration, share lessons learned and photos from the event, or use it to connect with anybody that you may have found interesting. And I'll kick off to show that I'm genuinely serious about the social media thing by taking a photo of myself. Does that sound good? So, can I get everybody to say a big social enterprise word forum, cheese? You can do better than that, okay? Come on, cheese. Nice one. Thank you so much. And lastly, before we watch the video, I've got something really serious to talk about, okay? And that's housekeeping. So, there will be no fire alarms. Put that phone on silent. That's another thing. Housekeeping rule number 1, phone on silent. Thanks for that prompt. There will be no fire alarms scheduled for the period of time which you're in the conference centre. So if you do hear something, make your way to the fire exits, which are marked. I've always wanted to do this. Which are marked at the front and the sides of the building, or sorry, the auditorium. There's also, this is Scotland, and under Scottish Government legislation, there is nay smoking within the building, okay? So please go outside and whatever you do, use the ashtrays provided because littering incurs a £50 fine. So for people who are visiting from out with Scotland, let me put that into context for you. £50, as well as getting you in trouble with the police, could potentially get you 12 pints of Brewgud or clean water lager, okay? And I know which one I would rather get in trouble with the authorities with, and that's definitely the beer. So, there are toilets situated outside to the right and to the left of the auditorium, and if you by any chance did not understand my dulcet Irish tones, which are slightly unintelligible, please feel free to ask any of the EICC team or any of our wonderful Social Enterprise World Forum staff who are currently in the blue t-shirts. So let's see the video about the app.
Welcome to the Social Enterprise World Forum 2018 app. The SEWF app is a resource for delegates and speakers. You can see the session schedule, view speakers and bios, find other delegates, venue maps, sponsor information, activity feeds for social sharing, message other delegates, set reminders, take notes, engage in session Q&A, and more. Click the top left corner of the home screen to see your schedule, edit your profile, check your messages, view contacts, and view your notes. To check your schedule, tap the calendar icon. Now you can see the entire SEWF schedule. To add a session to your calendar, tap the plus button. To see meeting invitations, tap the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. To view the other schedules for different days, scroll on the top side of the screen. Remember, make sure to only add sessions that you are pre-registered for. Within the session, you can see the session location on a map, check in on social media, take notes, set reminders, and add to your calendar, as well as see speaker information. Some of the sessions will have Q&A enabled within the app. To ask a question, tap the Q&A button and type. Remember, questions are filtered through the moderators to ensure that repeats are not posted. There is also a 250-character limit to each question. On the home page, you can find speaker information, such as their bios and what sessions they'll be speaking at, and delegate information, where you can message other delegates, invite them for meetings, and see their bios. The Click game is a photo scavenger hunt, which delegates can compete against each other to win the top 5 prizes. First, click the Get Started button and follow the prompts to create a username. Then, click the Profile button to see the photo challenges. Upload a photo per challenge to earn badges and points. The first 5 competitors to complete all of the challenges will win a prize. The activity feed is a great way to engage with the Social Enterprise World Forum. Check out the event wall, share posts, ideas, and engage in conversation with other delegates. If you have any issues logging onto the app, please either tweet, message, or email the app coordinator.
So, to formally kick off proceedings, we invite distinguished speakers from the conference to welcome our delegates, both locally and our global audience through our live streaming on Facebook. As is customary in our host city, it is my pleasure to invite the Right Honourable Frank Ross, Lord Provost and Lord Lieutenant of Edinburgh, to welcome you to our beautiful city.
Good afternoon, Deputy First Minister and Cabinet Secretary, Ministers, Speakers, visitors from other nations and delegates. As the Lord Provost of the City of Edinburgh, I would like to welcome you to the Edinburgh International Conference Centre here in the Scotland's historical capital city and to the Social Enterprise World Summit 2018. I wish to congratulate the organisers in marking the forum's 10-year anniversary by returning to Scotland and in gathering such an impressive array of globally talented sector and policy leaders. Now, while Edinburgh is ranked 9th in the index of Europe's most dynamic cities and 2nd in the world for quality of life, the capital also punches above its weight across a number of other sectors. For example, it is home to 4,600 third sector organisations who between them contribute £3 billion sterling annually to the city's economy, and to 20,000 private sector businesses, mainly small and medium-sized enterprises, who generate £18 billion per year for the city's economy. City is also a centre of excellence in many areas. In education, where Edinburgh University is ranked 23rd in the world, for technology, for tourism, culture and leisure, our UNESCO World Heritage and Literature status, combined, of course, with our renowned festivals, economic growth, enterprise, entrepreneurship and innovation, and not least, a thriving partnership environment where partners routinely collaborate for the benefit of the city, with a target to reduce the impacts of poverty and disadvantage. Against a backdrop of successive compact social enterprise strategies and frameworks for action across the last 14 years, Edinburgh continues to be a leading centre for social enterprise. This can be seen in the upsurge of social enterprises operating here in the city, which has been a particularly successful sector, having grown by 30% over the last 3 to 4 years alone to over 260 organisations today. The city's recently released economic strategy also recognises that a thriving social enterprise sector is key to an inclusive and sustainable economy, and that in order to grow social enterprise, a substantive collaboration support system has to be developed by infrastructural partners, which here in the city annually advise around 150 social entrepreneurs. Now, social enterprise can and is seen as a socially responsible and sustainable and ethical form of operating a business. In the capital, this has recently had a substantially increased profile, with a number of social cause events. For example, the big sleep out in the park in December 2017, which I think the Deputy First Minister participated in last year. The visit of Prince Harry and Miss Merkel to Social Bite in February of this year. And Social in the Gardens, which is just completed in July, to name but a few. As can be observed from the substantive delegate list, social enterprise is a truly global phenomenon, challenging public policy leaders to think differently about how business and services should be provided to our peoples. This is a positive thing, and in particular makes us think about social benefits weighted alongside economic inputs. But social enterprises can also do what large public bodies and traditional and multinational businesses cannot, in that they promote social causes, social change, innovation, cross-sector collaborations and new delivery models, and indeed encourage the public to buy goods and use services whilst taking account of the social impact of those goods and services. Examples of this can be seen in recent high-profile campaigns to reduce and mitigate poverty and address poor working conditions in exploitation of labour. In a city where the climate to maximise enterprise and entrepreneurship is a positive, and where we realise the value of ethical and sustainable trading, on behalf of the City of Edinburgh, I welcome each and every one of you to Scotland's capital. I look forward to hearing of the product of your deliberations over the coming days. I will come back and see you again, I think, on Friday at the conclusion of the summit, and I look forward to seeing some of the collaborations which have formed over the coming days and how that can be taken forward and lessons learned here in the capital. We'll be meeting again in one of Edinburgh's leading environmental enterprises, which is Dynamic Earth. But in the meantime, I wish you a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Lord Provost. Now to welcome delegates on behalf of the Scottish Government. It's my pleasure to introduce the Deputy First Minister and Cabinet Secretary for Education and Skills, John Swinney, MSP.
Lord Provost, Alan, ladies and gentlemen, it's an enormous pleasure to be with you to be part of the opening of the Social Enterprise World Forum. On my way here from a visit to a school in Highland Perthshire in rural Scotland, just as I was about to arrive, I put a message on social media which said that I was about to arrive at one of the greatest privileges of my term in office as Deputy First Minister of Scotland, the privilege of opening the Social Enterprise World Forum here in our capital city in Edinburgh. And I don't say that lightly, because 11 years ago, when I became a government minister in Scotland for the first time, I was part of a government that had a very slender hold on power. We didn't know exactly how long we would be able to stay in office. And the one thing I said to myself at that time, when I had policy responsibility for social enterprise, was that whatever else I did in however long I had in office, and we've had a great deal longer than I anticipated back in 2007, I was going to make it my business to make sure that social enterprise formed a greater part of Scottish public life, Scottish economy and Scottish society as a consequence of our actions in office than would have been the case had we not done that. And as I look back on the last 11 years, where we invested at the very beginning relatively small sums of money, but what it did was what the social enterprise movement is capable of doing. The opportunity was seized by the social enterprise movement and created a much more vibrant and strong social enterprise sector that now populates the length and breadth of Scotland. So, as I look back on those 11 years of activity, where the social enterprise sector has used every opportunity presented by it to establish a stronger role in our society, whether that's about being involved in the provision of retail services in our communities, or care services in our society, or employment services to meet some of the needs of our most disadvantaged individuals in our country, or whether it's about drawing together individuals, as I saw from one of the other social media messages I saw today from our most rural parts of Scotland, from the Malandain Development Trust, who operate to ensure that our remote rural communities have got much greater opportunities, wherever it is, in whichever part of our country. The social enterprise movement has now established a much greater foothold in our society, and Scotland is the better as a country for having had that experience. So, I want to say to every one of you that the social enterprise sector is a very precious part of our economy and society in Scotland, and we value the fact that you have come here for the Social Enterprise World Forum. Coming back for a return visit, so we must have got it pretty right in 2008 to persuade you to come back. There are many other places in the world to come to, but you've come back to us and you are very welcome. And why is it? that Scotland has such a special relationship with social enterprise? Well, I think it's got something deep to say about our society. Hundreds of years ago, Robert Owen established New Lanark, a place where education and employment and good housing were brought together to enable people to have a greater quality of life by working together, living together, sharing together, collaborating together to overcome some of the problems of that era. And that model of cooperative activity and living is a model that has percolated its way through our society, from the original concept in New Lanark to the establishment of the cooperative movement in Scotland, or to the establishment of the mutual organisations like the one I used to work for before I entered politics, or to look into the modern 21st century equivalents of those great founding enterprises of Robert Owen hundreds of years ago, the social enterprises that now grace this part of the world that we occupy. So we have in this country a very deep association with the social enterprise movement, founded on the historic conditions and aspirations of cooperative living and cooperative activity and cooperative work. And we see that now brought to life in 21st century Scotland with the role of social enterprises in our country. But it's about much more than that, because what social enterprises are for me are a full and proper articulation of some of the moral purpose we need in our society today. And my goodness, we need moral purpose in our society today. And social enterprises say to all of us that there is business activity to be done, there is trade to be undertaken, but it is important that that is done in a fashion that respects the lives of other people, the interests of other people. It is part of a wider moral purpose. So when the Ethiopian delegation who are at this Congress today were in Glasgow yesterday, they were able to go into a social enterprise grocer's shop in Glasgow and purchase, I don't know if they purchased, they certainly viewed, Ethiopian organic coffee traded fairly in the city of Glasgow, giving great products to the people of Glasgow, but providing economic opportunity in Ethiopia, part of a global moral purpose that we all share. And my goodness, our world needs moral purpose today. So when I look at that little example, that illustration, or I look at the fine work that Alan and his organisation are doing in selling beer to the good people of Scotland, and that's not the hardest thing to do, I have to say. There's a lot of interest in beer in Scotland, but with a moral purpose of enabling the selling of beer to people in Scotland to fund the delivery of clean water in Malawi. What is a greater moral purpose than doing that? So the social enterprise movement is deeply attached to some of the characteristics and the values of Scottish society and to which we attach the greatest of significance. And behind me there's a whole array of sponsors and supporters of this event, and right up there are two organisations I want to highlight: Scottish Enterprise and Highlands and Islands Enterprise. These are the business development organisations in Scotland. They are government agencies that we fund to support the development of business in our economy. And they are here, sponsors of the Social Enterprise World Forum. Why? Because we consider social enterprise to be an essential stream of business activity as part of our economy, and therefore our enterprise development agencies should be at the heart of supporting you and supporting you in your work. So I say all of that to illustrate to you that Scotland has invested over the course of many years in creating the conditions that enable social enterprise to thrive, because we want to have a greater part of our economy and our society driven by the moral purpose that social enterprise can bring to our economy and our society, and we are the better for it. In Parliament yesterday, my colleague Aileen Campbell, the Cabinet Secretary for Communities, who I'm sure you'll meet over the course of the next couple of days, and many of you may have met her already, said that we were very proud that by hosting the Social Enterprise World Forum, it cemented Scotland's reputation as a world-leading social enterprise nation. Of all the things that I am proud of my country about, the fact that we can describe ourselves as a world-leading social enterprise nation is right up there in the list of things of which I am most proud of my country. And it's been delivered because the social enterprise community here in Scotland rose to the challenge that we issued as a government, rose to the challenge, exceeded the challenge, burst the ceiling of the challenge, and all of you who've contributed to that are here at the heart of welcoming the Social Enterprise World Forum, and on behalf of the Government, on behalf of the First Minister, I want to thank you for all that you have done. And I want to thank every one of you from around the world. You are phenomenally welcome here in our capital city. Everyone's welcome to come to Edinburgh as our capital city and to our country. Our city is an open, welcoming city, part of an open, welcoming country. We want to have new ideas, new faces, new visions brought here to Scotland and to share in them. But as social entrepreneurs, you are especially welcome in a world-leading social enterprise nation called Scotland. Every good wish to you for a very successful forum. You're very welcome in Scotland. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Deputy First Minister. Personally, I'd like to echo that. I think, as an Irishman, there is no better place in the world to start and to grow a social enterprise than Scotland, and the Scottish Government have been hugely supportive in creating that sort of environment. It's now my pleasure to introduce a man who's been extremely pivotal in pulling this all together, the CEO of CEIS and Director of the Social Enterprise World Forum 2008, Mr. Jerry Higgins.
Wow. After 2 years of planning, we're finally at the opening of Social Enterprise World Forum 2018. Welcome to our Deputy First Minister, distinguished ministers, esteemed guests, on behalf of the board and the staff team at CEIS. Seeing this event come together has been really interesting. We had initially an ambitious target of 1,200 people, and we thought that 33%, 400 people roughly, would come internationally, a much higher amount than traditionally attend Social Enterprise World Forums. Not only have we exceeded the total anticipated numbers, but our international participants number 749, or 53% of the total number of people here. So thank you for travelling. Thank you for travelling. We hope you feel welcome and we hope you have a great experience. There's no denying that these are troubled times. We have Brexit looming, but the attendance here from England, Wales and Northern Ireland is enormous. And this shows that our social enterprises are interested in collaboration and are focused on addressing social issues in all parts of these islands. Wearing my hat as the Director of Social Enterprise UK, a very warm welcome to all participants from throughout the UK. When our team produced the delegate data on Sunday, I was genuinely struck by some of the numbers. 112 people from Canada. The vast majority of those from Atlantic Canada, and granted Edinburgh is certainly closer to Vancouver, but you're all very welcome. 83 people from New Zealand. And given our dialogue with New Zealand about an emerging social enterprise sector just 3 years ago, these are really remarkable figures. For the last few years, Social Enterprise World Forum has benefited from really strong attendance from Taiwan. Welcome to Minister Audrey Tang and your 72 colleagues from Taiwan. We look forward to great conversations in the coming days. Now, there are too many countries to mention, but the event information will be on the app. But I want to just have a special thanks to the British Council for mobilising 120 people from around the world. Your presence will bring depth and breadth to our conversations and our dialogue over the coming days. You're very, very welcome. So this year we started the week with an academic symposium and a zero waste, zero carbon symposium, a range of rural and urban study visits and a young talent programme. We will conclude Social Enterprise World Forum 2018 at our rural symposium on the Isle of Harris on Tuesday evening, ironically in a distillery. Thank you to the organisers and hosts of these events. We've had a great start to our Festival of Social Enterprise. I've had marvellous feedback over the last 2 days, and to everybody who was involved in making this more than just a forum over 3 days, thank you very much. Before I conclude, I want to mention a couple of people who can't be here for health and family reasons. Maureen Poach, my C.I.C. chair, who I'm deputising for here, Jim Shaw, our director from the USA, Mary Marin from Northern Ireland, and the tour de force that is Peter Holbrook from Social Enterprise UK. We will miss you all. So after 11 Social Enterprise World Forum events in 10 years, what advice can I pass on? Well, if there are people that you want to connect with, do it early. Use the app, find them, and because these 3 days are going to fly by like a good wedding. So don't end up regretting that there are people that you wanted to meet that you've just missed the opportunity. So connect really early with people that you want to have conversations with. It's going to be ironic coming from me, but take it easy on the hospitality. We want to have 3 high-energy days, and I'm going to try and practice what I preach. Enjoy and engage with all the outstanding content. The app is really interactive. The theatres aren't particularly interactive given tiered seating, so we've invested in a conference app and you can ask questions. Downstairs has the same questioning and a participation facility because of the app, so in that way we can engage all 1,400 people. But most of all, enjoy the networking, because the networking at Social Enterprise World Forum is very, very special. It's special because it's about the creation of social capital with others who share your intrinsic values. So help us to make this a fabulous, inspiring and change-making event. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Jerry. Last but not least is David Lepage, Chair of Social Enterprise World Forum, to reflect on the international interest in coming to Scotland and the priorities for the next decade, which will be discussed over the next few days.
First of all, I want to thank the Government of Scotland for welcoming us and the City of Edinburgh, and a special thank you to Jerry and his team. This is an amazing event. If you've been emailing any of his team, you know no matter what or where you were, an email came back, and I was like, they must have a clock that doesn't exist. So thank you to all the efforts that went into that. I also want to take a second to thank Minister Swinney, because 10 years ago when we came here, we had an event at the opening, and we were a small enough group of people we could all go to the same event. And he got up and he did a welcoming, and he was a minister in the federal government, and he spoke about the power of social enterprise and the commitment they had to social enterprise. He didn't have any notes. And I'm like, this is a minister who gets it. It's kind of a dream. So I think we really have to send some thank yous to you for all the support you've done for us. There are a few of us who were here 10 years ago. So anybody else? Jerry was here. Anyone else? Stand up if you were here 10 years ago. Just So when we did that first session 10 years ago, and we came here to launch the Social Enterprise World Forum, I don't think we knew there was going to be one the next year, but there was, and now we're on the 11th. We knew then, and we have to now reemphasize in the next few days, that our purpose requires a continued collective and collaborative effort to make social enterprise the mainstream model for business going forward. But we know that this is not a short-term game, because we're not about quarterly returns to be measured by. Social enterprise is about a long-term shift of blending economic and social values. We're not focused on appeasing shareholders. Social enterprise focuses on our responsibility to community stakeholders. Social enterprise is neither lipstick on a pig nor CSR in pretty wrapping paper. We are not a social washing machine. Social enterprise is not a game where individual entrepreneurs are the winners. We are focused on building and strengthening all members of our communities, because we recognize that our communities and our global well-being depends on the foundation of a value-based model for trading goods and services. Locally and globally, the exchange of goods and services are the fabric of a successful economy. It's how we create jobs. It's how we create social well-being and how we create wealth. But social enterprise defines wealth as a much more than merely economic gain. We look at all of our community capitals, not just the economic capital we create, but also the human capital, the environmental capital, the cultural capital, and the social capital. We build not private wealth, but community wealth. We are dedicated and committed to building a marketplace where trading is a means not of extracting value to build wealth for the few, but where trading through social enterprise principles is the means to contribute to building healthy communities and the environmentally sound, socially inclusive, and economically equitable. We are not using the tools of the marketplace to divide us. We are reinventing a new version of the marketplace, a social value-driven marketplace. We have years of work ahead of us, but I'm proud of the legacy and the contribution of the Social Enterprise World Forum has made in the past 10 years and the role that it will play in the future. So as we continue to create this social value-based marketplace, we're all going to have to work together. But for the next few days, try to enjoy, try to learn, try to share, because you are contributing to the future of a social value marketplace. So thank you.
Thank you for that, David. This event, although it's over 2.5 days, is all really about the legacy, what we take away, what we'll take into the next decade. And with that in mind, it's time to talk about the 2017 legacy. So last year, the Social Enterprise World Forum was held in Christchurch in New Zealand, and as Jerry had pointed out, we have over 80 delegates who've travelled all the way across the globe to participate. And we've got two very special people to come up and talk about the legacy of the 2017 forum. Last year's event director, Helene Malandain. But first, please welcome the Honourable Peeni Henare, Minister of Community and Voluntary Sector for the New Zealand Government.
Kātia ke rā e oku rangatira, e tuku nātu i ngā mihi kia tātou katoa kua whakarau i ka mai nei ki runga i tēnei kaupapanui. Ngā mihi nui ki ngā mana whenua o tēnei kāinga. I toro mai te ringa kia tātou katoa kia hui mai ki runga i tēnei whenua a tāhu arawa atu. Ko ngā tangi kia rātou kua ngaro atu ki te pō, haere, haere. Ka whakahokia mai ngā rārangi kōrero kia tātou te hunga ora, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou. katoa. It's not too late to learn te reo Māori. At home in New Zealand this week we are celebrating Māori Language Week. And it's in the mother tongue of Aotearoa New Zealand can I express our warm thanks and gratitude to the people of Edinburgh, Scotland, for their invitation to be here at this auspicious event. Last year, in 2017, as has already been mentioned, Christchurch, Aotearoa New Zealand hosted this particular forum. But if there's one message that has come through in the speakers this morning, it is about legacy. And as we look over the past 10 years, we consider the changes that have caused for this particular initiative around social enterprise and social investment to be at the forefront of how we move forward. 10 years ago, the first generation iPhones were introduced into the market. And in the past decade, we have had many iterations. In the past 10 years, the world suffered a global financial crisis, which helped us to understand what we were doing wrong. In the past 10 years, the All Blacks have won 2 World Cups. And for far too many governments, they have strayed away from their purpose of serving their people. Social enterprise allows for us to push the reset button in many cases. In 2017, when New Zealand hosted you all, it was a time for us to pause, to have a look at how we move forward into the future and how we want to treat our citizens and play our part as a global citizen. Therefore, in 2017, it created a discussion in New Zealand that actually resets the moral compass. It helps us to humanise the way governments in particular serve the people who put them there. And that's important. So therefore, we have created partnerships in Aotearoa New Zealand to grow social enterprise, to put our unique brand on social enterprise, to share it with you all at this particular forum, and of course, to learn from you. In that change, we have made one decision as a government, and that is that everything we do must be transformational and intergenerational. Therefore, that causes us to look now to the future. And I hope at this particular forum here in Edinburgh, the beautiful city of Edinburgh, we have the opportunity to communicate, to partner, to collaborate and to share ideas to ensure that, as was already mentioned this morning, today, that this social enterprise movement grows well and strong into the future. So on behalf of delegates from Aotearoa New Zealand, to the people of Edinburgh and to every delegate gathered here, can I say thank you. It's customary in New Zealand to sing a song. And while karaoke, I'm sure, doesn't start until the sun goes down, it is, I think, relevant to sing a very short Māori song, a song that speaks about coming together for a single purpose. And I truly believe that this song represents the purpose of one and all who have come here for this forum, and I say to you, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. So my comrades from New Zealand, if you can stand where you are seated. Tu tira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Tu tira mai ngā iwi, tātou tātou e. Whai a te maramatanga, me te aroha e ngā iwi, kia tapatahi, kia kotahira, tātou tātou e, tātou tātou e. In brief, the translation says, let us stand together as a group, all of us as one. May we have one single purpose established in love and unity. Tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa.
Kia ora, Minister. Tēnā koutou katoa. Hello, everyone. I had the privilege of being the director for last year's Social Enterprise World Forum in Christchurch. It was the first time that Aotearoa New Zealand hosted our global community. And we gave it all we got. We fully opened up to our 1,600 delegates, and our soul and our culture and our values were on display. What mattered to us was, of course, to give our delegates a great, valuable experience that week. But most importantly, we were looking for long-term impact and how we could accelerate our collective impact on the longer term. I hope that many of you who travelled the world that week to be with us could see the difference it made to your work. In New Zealand, it definitely made a massive difference, and the evidence of the impact of the forum was clear to us. Overall, it gave shape and profile to our movement, and that is the magic that happens when like-minded people get together. As a sector, we've entered a new phase of maturity. We've developed a stronger, more confident voice that's really helping us demonstrate better and more clearly the potential of social enterprise as a solution. As a result of the partnership that Minister Henare just referred to quickly between the Ākina Foundation and the government, we will soon understand even better the needs of our social entrepreneurs, and we will therefore be able to serve these needs in a more tailored and relevant fashion. Some of the key elements that form the infrastructure of a more mature sector were put in place on the back of the forum last year. So we launched the Impact Enterprise Fund, our first impact investment fund in New Zealand. We set up our National Advisory Board for Impact Investment that will be ratified by the global group next month in New Delhi. And we've got an upcoming digital social procurement marketplace as a result of a partnership between Ākina and New Zealand Post. Work is also underway in other areas, such as developing a new legal structure, being a bit more sophisticated around how we measure our impact, and thinking differently about capability building, in particular in our remote regions of New Zealand. We're also working with new global partners, and we've joined new global communities, such as the Social Enterprise Academy. To assess change at more individual level, I simply deployed a very short survey to all of the entrepreneurs who attended the forum last year, and I got almost 100 responses, I think, from people who shared the story of how they grew their impact in the last 12 months. Today, I'd like to talk to you about 3 of these amazing impact stories. So in a minute, we'll play a video, but to give you a bit more context, the first one is the Wellington Zoo that's been operating as a social enterprise for many years, and the amazing Karen Fifield and her team are inspirations for zoos all around the world, championing conservation and always striving to become more sustainable as a business. The Wellington Zoo and the Formery, another Wellington-based social enterprise, form a partnership as a result of meeting each other at the forum last year. The Formery exists to mitigate the frightening consequences of our fashion industry on our planet by giving used textiles a second life, now including all of the used zoo uniforms. Bernadette Casey, co-founder, will be heading to London next month to present at a global conference on fashion and share the groundbreaking work the Former is doing. The last example is of a Maori-owned social enterprise called Stay Native. A family-owned business, Stay Native offers authentic, family-based experiences to travellers who want real connections with their host and are interested in learning about the Maori culture. Pam Armstrong, who's representing us today, this week, at the forum, came to the forum last year with just an idea, and she left to start a very successful business that just got awarded by New Zealand Maori Tourism for an innovative approach. So there are many more stories, of course, and as we said, it's about 86 of us representing New Zealand this week, so I'm sure you'll hear many more of these beautiful stories firsthand, and you'll be able to share yours in return. Our theme last year was Ka koro ki te manu, creating our tomorrow. We farewelled you with this message. If we don't create our own tomorrow, the future will create itself for us. In the next few days, let's learn from each other. Let's celebrate our collective impact and please for your own achievements and efforts. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
He tangata, he tangata, he tangata.
To see all these organisations come together in one place was really heartwarming.
We came away from that forum and I think it was like a light bulb moment and we got it, it clicked. And we said, this is what we need to do.
It's really about us being in a place with people who ignite our own passions yet again.
We really wanted to create experiences that were authentic and that were based on genuine connectivity. And I guess the best model for that connectivity is with family, whānau.
Wellington Zoo is a place where we connect people with animals. If we can involve people in conservation, then I think they relearn what it is to be human.
There's definitely a change happening, and we're seeing that just by the number of inquiries we get, and it's really driven by consumers themselves.
We know that positive social and environmental impact will help us achieve a sustainable, prosperous New Zealand, and we believe that social enterprise will be at the heart of that.
I'm sure you all agree that that's an inspiring legacy and hopefully one we can recreate in Edinburgh through this event. But what about the next generation? And I'm not just talking about the guys from the Young Talent Programme who are joining us in the Tinto. I'm also talking about our school kids. One of the most amazing things about social enterprise, I personally think, in Scotland is what is going on in our schools and the next generation of our citizens. In Scotland, children are given the chance to learn and start their own social enterprises. Thousands of primary and secondary school kids are learning about how business can contribute to society from a young age. So important is this to our ecosystem that we wanted to showcase it during the opening ceremony. And I'm delighted to welcome Neil Mclaren, CEO of the Social Enterprise Academy, and the pupils of St Albert's Primary and Broughton High School to tell us more about this trailblazing programme.
Deputy First Minister, Lord Provost, distinguished guests, it's a real honour to be here to talk about the Young People's Programme that we have in Scotland, and it's a big thank you to the Scottish Government for supporting it for all these years. Mr Swinney's very familiar with what goes on in the school programme, so thank you. The Social Enterprise Academy has been operating now for 14 years in Scotland. We have a vision for a society which combines economic activity with community benefit, a society led by dynamic social entrepreneurs. Our role in that vision is to provide learning and development programmes for people developing leadership with social purpose. As a strategic partner of the Scottish Government, we run programmes across Scotland's communities for around 1,200 people per year. About 6 years ago, we had an opportunity to share our learning with some communities in Australia and also in South Africa. And I'm delighted to say now that we, 6 years later, have 12 international countries, partners, about to start or starting social enterprise programmes in their own country. And it's a delight to welcome our latest partner from New Zealand, from Ākina, and we look forward to learning from the wisdom of the Maori community as it comes into our community of practice. So thank you very much for coming on. About 10 years ago, our colleagues in Scottish Government said, could you do something to raise awareness of the social enterprise business model in our schools? And colleagues of mine had the wisdom to say, well, rather than have a taught programme, let's support the young people to learn something experientially. So what we do is we have experienced social entrepreneurs who go into the school and ask the young people, what do you care about? What social issue, what community issue, what do you care about here? Not the last thing you heard on TV, but what do you care about? And after some insightful conversation, and this conversation may be with very young children or very mature children, young adults, it's the same conversation. What do you care about? Once that's been established, the conversation then moves to what business that you could run in your school would best contribute to that issue. Off you go. The programme, by its nature, needs to be pupil-led, must have a trading at its base, has to run more than a year, and the whole school community must know about it. Some of the outcomes and impacts of the programme are quite remarkable. The schools. I said to him, actually before a meeting with Mr Swinney, what do you think, Jay? What's the real difference that this thing is making on the pupils? And he thought about it, and we had a discussion about it. And in summary, his observation was that the young people are moving from passive recipients of learning to active citizens. That's quite a journey. The impact on our teachers. We often hear the teachers realise or say, I had no idea that that group of young people could do this. And it sometimes changes how they engage with the teaching process, which is wonderful. And in our communities across Scotland, the young people are rightly seen as assets, co-producing a new society, which is amazing to see. I am excited, delighted to introduce the next two schools to you. They can describe this far better than I can, so I will stop talking. But I would like to invite onto the stage first some young people from St Albert's Primary School. We have Salahuddin, Zanib, Zara and Arham. Can you please come up?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Arham Hanif. مرحبا سيداتي وسادتي أنا اسمي زينب أشمر.
Buenos días a todo. Me llamo Salahuddin Khan.
Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम ज़ारा ज़हीद and annyeonghaseyo Zara Imida. We are children of St Albert's Primary School. Our school is situated in the south side of Glasgow, in the community of Pollokshields.
We are a multicultural, multi-faith primary school.
Many of us speak different languages at home, ranging from Urdu, Punjabi, Arabic, Spanish, Italian, French, and the list goes on and on.
Lots of the parents in our school community run their own businesses.
That's very true, Zara. This means that from a young age we have been surrounded by a culture of entrepreneurship. Our heritage is very important to us, and we appreciate the skills and hard-working attitudes we have learned from our families.
Our school wants us to be strong and resilient, prepared for the world of work and able to challenge any inequalities we may encounter.
Teachers aim to equip us with the business and entrepreneurial skills that we need. Being involved in social enterprise projects gives us first-hand experience of the responsibilities associated with running businesses that are
successful,
profitable,
conscience-led,
and community-focused.
Exactly. We've made a short animation to describe what social enterprise means to us. Check it out.
Social enterprise is a business that aims to help people and community members. In St Albert's, we look at how we can make Pollokshields and Glasgow a better place to live. We aim to develop conscience-led communities.
What?
What does that even mean, we hear you ask? We believe in improving our society and helping to improve our community's quality of life. For us, this comes down to one important thing: love.
And continue to run a very successful social enterprise called Cafe Connect.
help new to English families feel settled in Glasgow by creating a space to chat, share stories, and relax over a cup of tea. With the money raised from the cafe, we decided to organise a trip for our families. We went to Ayr Beach, and there we enjoyed the fresh sea air, got a chippy, and began to call Glasgow home. We are continually thinking of the best ways to use the money raised to provide exciting experiences for our families involved. Another positive project was when our Primary 1 to class and Primary 4-5 class worked together to create a book of short stories called Stories for Syria. They worked closely with Ben from the Village Storytelling Centre, and he taught them how to create imaginative pieces of writing based around important themes: peace, love, freedom, friendship, and creativity. They then sold the books to our parents, local partners, and community members. All the profit made was donated to refugees, a community-led charity set up to ensure that refugees arriving in Glasgow are welcomed to the city in true Glaswegian style. At our school, Primary 6-7 have been focusing on a social enterprise project called Refill. Through the research, we became aware of how plastic bottles are a problem in our local community. We found that there was only one refill point in Scotland, and we want to campaign for more refill points around Glasgow about reducing the amount of plastic bottles wasted in our community. We wrote letters to local businesses and to Scotland Street School Museum to ask them to get on board and to work towards becoming refill points within the community. We asked them for donations to help us to raise money to register our school on the refill website, which cost £250. We also raised funds in school by selling reusable water bottles. We raised £208. Once registered, we plan to go around local businesses, giving them stickers to display to show that they are refill stations. They would then be listed on the website and the app. We are hoping this work will help our school and community towards becoming plastic-free.
These are just a selection of our success stories. This year, we hope to set up new social enterprises and local partnerships. We already have some really good ideas.
We would like to learn from social enterprises internationally and hear about the projects that are happening further afield in your countries.
We are forever learning and open to being inspired. We recognise that 2018 is a year of the young person, but to us, every year is just as important as the next.
We look forward to our future and hope to use our skills and business savvy in the workplace.
Thank you for listening.
Shukran isghaikum.
Gracias por escucharlo.
Jazakallah.
And I'm sorry, if that doesn't put a smile on your face, you're in the wrong place, okay? It is just amazing. Thank you so much. I would like to invite our colleagues from Broughton High School to the stage now, which is Evie, Taylor, Joy and Tommy. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We're the directors of Broughton Enterprise. I'm Taylor, this is Tommy, this is Joy, and this is Evie, one of our volunteers. Bro Enterprise aims to tackle loneliness and social isolation within our community by creating a safe and inclusive space where everyone's welcome. Although we hear a lot in the social media about how the elderly can feel alone or isolated from society, loneliness can affect anyone at any time in their life. From young mums who may feel trapped at home looking after small children, to Wellington Enterprise, everyone is welcome, everyone is included, and everyone is valued. This includes our customers, service users, and also a huge team of volunteers. So what do we actually do? Our business includes a social cafe and intergenerational workshops. All of our profits are reinvested and used to support social issues that we find are important to our ethos, such as homelessness and food poverty.
Every Friday, a social cafe is open up to the public in our school. Our volunteers bread and cakes. We have regular customers for nearby sheltered housing, teachers from our schools, and members of the nearby community who all come along for lunch. Each week, we have a 15-minute live performance to entertain our customers by the City of Edinburgh Music School students who attend our school. We have weekly workshops for all ages with crafts, games, and interactive reading. These sessions are about being together, enjoying each other's company, and having fun. We have weekly workshops. I just read that, sorry. Our volunteers plan the workshops around themes. Here you can see Pippi, who is 7, making Play-Doh with Dorothy, who is in her 80s. And that's Marion having a go at skipping with Sheila and Joyce looking on. There's always a story too, a time to come together and listen as a volunteer reads to the children.
We have got exciting plans for the coming year. We're in the process of developing a luxury chocolate product. Our volunteers will work as product developers, graphic designers, marketing consultants. They'll develop skills in communication, branding, advertising, managing online sales, and influencing others. We're also planning an upcycling project. And finally, we're building our community garden. So next summer, we'll be able to sell homegrown veg boxes and produce delicious meals using the veg in our cafe.
So who benefits? We like to think our customers enjoy coming along to Bro Cafe and to our workshops. We know that as volunteers and directors, we benefit too.
Bro Enterprise has given me the chance to work in a different environment. As a volunteer, it allows me to get to know other people and work with other people. It's a way that I can contribute and make a difference to my community. Sometimes I can feel quite socially anxious in situations. Volunteering is helping me to very much build my confidence in that.
When I leave school, I aspire to become a social worker. Bro Enterprise has helped me to enhance my people skills in ways that could benefit my future. I want to make that change.
When I leave school, I hope to go off to university and study law. Being a Bro director has helped me as I have gained vital communication, leadership, and management skills that will play a massive part in my future.
When I leave school, I aspire to become an actress, and volunteering with Bro Enterprise has helped me work on my communication and organisational skills. Bro Enterprise is for everyone who wants to see a thriving, caring community with young people succeeding at the heart of it. Together, good things happen.
It's a privilege to be involved with young people like yourselves. Thank you for sharing that today. It's amazing. I want to share a quote with you, just finish up very quickly. Roger Lewin, the famous scientist, said, "Too often we give our children answers to remember rather than problems to solve." Yeah? And I think when you think about what we're doing in this programme here, what we're asking the young people to do is pick the problem they would like to solve. It goes one step further, and it's incredibly powerful, as you've seen directly from the young people. In closing, I've got a request. I'd like you to close your eyes, please. I'd like you to close your eyes for a second and imagine a Scotland, or imagine the country that you live in, or imagine a world where every young person goes through a programme like that, where they identify an issue they would like to concern themselves with and build a business solution to solve it. That would change the world, and these young people are changing our communities up and down Scotland. Please join me in thanking the schools today. Thank you.
I mean, how genuinely inspiring was that? It's incredible. I'd never really learned anything about social enterprise until I was out of uni, and that's not that long ago. Can you imagine being brought up in a culture where you're actually exposed to that? Not just exposed to it like it's something on a blackboard, you're empowered to go out and do something really awesome about it. I think that's something that we should really, really celebrate, and I'm really looking forward to, hopefully in 10 years' time, getting them back up on the stage and seeing what they can do. So now we're going to move on to the next section, which is our open plenary. Just bear with me. And it's shining a light on the best in social enterprise all over the world with some excellent speakers. Chairing will be Chinkwita. Karen is the co-founder and CEO of Jubilee Enterprise, a local social enterprise and the first Malawian youth-focused business development service provider. Karen is primarily an educator, holding a degree in education humanities. Her goal is to enable the growth of a conducive environment for sustainable development through entrepreneurship and arts. She has served since July 2017 as the youngest director on the Malawi-Scotland Partnership Board. Please welcome Karen. On the panel will be David Juke, the CEO of Street Soccer Scotland. He runs a social enterprise that uses football to create positive change in the lives of socially disadvantaged adults and young people. He has set up the Change Centre Scotland, a new social enterprise that exists to tackle homelessness by creating personal development and self-management centres. He is an ambassador for the Homeless World Cup, and in 2017 he was made an MBE. But what is most important for this introduction, that he's also my pal. Please welcome David Duke. Next we have Eliana Hillman, CEO of JAVARA Indonesia. We have a fan. A believer in the future of Indonesia's food biodiversity to meet global healthy diets. She is without doubt one of Indonesia's most celebrated social entrepreneurs and was awarded the EY Indonesia 2013 Social Entrepreneur of the Year Award. And in 2017, she was also named by Top 10 Asia as one of Indonesia's top social entrepreneurs. Please welcome Heli. Last up, we have Mike Curtin, CEO of DC Central Kitchen. As CEO, he has turned DC Central Kitchen into a social enterprise and healthy school meals phenomenon. His leadership expanded the business from traditional opportunities to include locally sourced, scratch-cooked meals, increasing revenues from $500,000 in 2005 to over $9 million in 2017. Among other prestigious positions and titles, he is a recipient of the 2010 Gelman, Rosenberg and Friedman Excel Award for Excellence in Chief Executive Leadership. Please join me in welcoming Mike Curtin to the stage.
And welcome once again to the Social Enterprise World Forum. Moni Nose, that is greetings to you all in Chichewa. And the usual answer is Zikomo, which is thank you. So we're looking at the best in social enterprise, overcoming challenges and changing lives. And I couldn't be with more amazing people up front here. Let's give them another round of applause, if you don't mind. So I am today the chair, Karen Chinkwita Kumakanga, That would be in brackets, because I just got married a few months ago, but my passport hasn't changed. Takes a while to change your passport in Malawi. So I'm the co-founder of Jubilee Enterprise. Just a little bit about Jubilee. It started a few years ago, August 2014, after an amazing conference just like this one in Ethiopia, funny enough. And the World Forum will be going to Ethiopia next year. I'm wondering if this is not a circle of events. We realized that young people in the country, especially in Africa, need a platform for them to be built up and to be just ushered into entrepreneurship. And we found a lot of amazing young people that needed support. And along in that journey, we were introduced to the Social Enterprise Academy through the Africa office, Rachel Milson, and are now a local partner in Malawi. I also sit on the board of the Malawi-Scotland Partnership, advancing the partnership between the two countries and the two governments, looking at how Scotland and Malawi can work together along their development journey. And it is amazing to sit here and look at the best practice of social enterprise in the world, sitting at the center of social enterprise globally, that is Scotland, Edinburgh. If you're Scottish, give yourself a clap. Now, gosh, all protocols observed. I was at the social enterprise debate at Parliament just yesterday, and I was looking at the stats that were there, and they were amazing. This is the best of social enterprise locally. Looking at 7 billion has been invested in social enterprises so far. 2 billion comes in annually. It's employing over 80,000 people just in Scotland alone, and 51% of those are women. So apparently, before I continue to talk about other stuff that was discussed there, is the Social Enterprise Academy in the room? Of course, that's a bit ridiculous. Our CEO is just up here. But if you're from the Academy, just wave. Now, the Academy is clever. It knew the social enterprise movement would get around, so it's already in New Zealand. It's got partners in Canada, already in Africa, and we're in Asia, just in case. So we're seeing the rise of a generation of passionate individuals that want to see communities that have the people and the environment at heart. And we face different challenges, which is legislation in different countries, public awareness of what a social enterprise actually is, financial and enterprise support. I was impressed to be in Parliament and having members of Parliament actually explain so clearly about what a social enterprise is, what a movement is, and that's something we would like to see in Malawi and I guess across the world as we look at different things. But to not take too long at this point, we have these three people in front of us that have been very, very quiet for a while, been very nice, and let me rattle on because I like to talk. That's why I'm sitting up here.
Keep going?
Yeah. So, you think I can keep going?
Probably.
For how long?
2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah.
No, actually, we had a bet at college. I could speak for 12 hours straight. But I will not do that this morning. Without much further ado, are you back on Twitter?
Yeah.
When did you get back?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. All right. So David hasn't been on Twitter for a while, but for the sake of you amazing people, he came back yesterday, and you can continue to tweet about what he's. Was it? It's not for them.
It was today. It was Shelter's 50th anniversary yesterday. So it's that. I mean, I think, I don't know if anyone uses Twitter, but sometimes you can get so consumed by it all and constantly checking, and it actually you're thinking, I've got more important things to do. So I just gave myself a 3-month break, so I've done well for it.
All right. So welcome him back to Twitter and to the stage. Tell us a bit more about Street Soccer.
Yeah, first of all, it's great to be here. It's great to see the World Forum back in Scotland. The last time it was here was 2008. It was probably around about the time when I was actually thinking about setting up my first social enterprise. And I think the organisation that I lead is called Street Soccer Scotland, and we use football to engage with people who are experiencing difficulties in life, whether it be homelessness, mental health, addiction and so on. And I think when you look at the reason why you set something up, whether it be in social enterprise or in other sectors, there's always a reason behind it. You know, sometimes it's what you're good at, sometimes it's your life experiences, and for me it was to do with my own life experience, you know. So back in 2000, after the death of my father, I experienced homelessness for the first time. And I grew up as a young person. I'd kind of dropped out of school because my father was an alcoholic. And so I left school at 13 and kind of took on the role as the kind of leader in the house, and I had to kind of go out there and earn and contribute to the running of the house. And after his death, it really affected me, and I just kind of switched off. You know, I found myself kind of my life spiralling out of control to the point where I lost my job, I lost my girlfriend, and I was alone on the street. Now, being homeless is kind of destroys any kind of confidence, self-esteem, feeling of worthless, any feeling of worth that you have, you know, and it kind of really destroys you and it isolates you. And thankfully, at a time when I needed it, football, it was something that I was very passionate about as a kid, and I played a lot. Enough to get involved in another social enterprise, the Homeless World Cup, which I hope he's not in the audience, but old school social entrepreneurs. So Mel founded that after the big your life in that situation. As I say, you cut yourself off. You're often surrounded by kind of danger and negative situations which you have to navigate around to stay safe and to stay alive. But football provided me that out. You know, it provided me with somewhere I could go, relax, get fit, play sport, meet new people, and actually create role models in my life through my coach, through some of the other. And suddenly, on reflection, I realised that I had purpose, and that's something that was missing from my life at the time. I had nothing to do, nowhere to be, and suddenly I had that purpose, which was to go play soccer. And I'm saying soccer because of the international audience. It's football. We call it fitba. But it provided me with that structure. And from that structure, I built confidence. I found new hope. And I found a bit of belief in myself. You know, when I went, represented Scotland at the Homeless World Cup and came back re-energised and wanting to keep moving forward. You know, and I found that opportunity through volunteering with a local kids football team or soccer team, and that proved to be a trigger in terms of me moving out of homelessness and leaving it behind for good. And I went into education. My day job was working to support homeless people from a support level, and I was a youth worker at night and a football coach. So all my life experiences pointed towards the creation of Street Soccer Scotland. And so we set it up in 2009, we turned 10 next year, and basically our mission is to make sure that everyone has access to security, relationships and purpose. Because if we look at our own life, you know, we analyse our own life in terms of what we have in it today, if you were to remove purpose from your life, where does that leave you, and what does it do to you, both mentally and physically? So it's important when we talk about addressing challenges such as homelessness or mental health or addiction, that we try and create a platform where people can build relationships, you know, and find that purpose, that kind of reason to get up in the morning. And there'll be a video just at the end of this, just to kind of give you, just a 1-minute video giving you a kind of an overview of street soccer and what we do. But this isn't about street soccer, this is about the celebration of you guys and everyone involved in social enterprise, and actually anyone who has ambition to become a social entrepreneur. You know, because I think being a social entrepreneur isn't just about your own organisation. It's much, much wider than that. And I think the job of a social entrepreneur is to inspire others and to share with others. So whether that's working alongside corporate organisations, you see here large corporate organisations, PwC, Johnson & Johnson, the people in this room and the people maybe watching or who are involved in social enterprise on a global level, our job is to enable and inspire all sorts of business to be more social. You know, it's about how, because social enterprise is great, but we realise that the way the world works and for the economy that there has to be large corporations and who give jobs and stuff like that, but how do we make business more social? And I've seen that in the last 10 years, where it be law firms creating foundations so they can give back. You know, so business are starting to look at philanthropy as part of their day-to-day, and we know that young people want to be involved in a business which gives back, which is socially minded, and I think our job is to inspire that, but also to identify the next social entrepreneurs and the next leaders and emerging leaders, to give back what we got at the start. Because I remember setting up a social enterprise, and I lent on people like Mel Young and other people in the social enterprise ecosystem, you know, and they helped me grow as a social entrepreneur, you know, and I'm still growing. I'm nowhere near the finished article, but I think it's important that we remember that it's our job's to share, because unlike other business, we are here to change the world. We're not here to take over it. You know, so the sharing side of it is really important. We often get asked, should we expand to England or could it? And I always say, why? When there's people down there who can do it. All we have to do is share, first of all, what went wrong, because it's easy to share what went good, but actually share some of the things that you've done and enable others to do good, because if you do it that way, then change is accelerated. So for me, that's what social enterprise is all about. It's social enterprise's impact, it's equality, it's about purpose, and it's about hope. Hope that we can make our country, our world, more equal for everyone. And I think the reason I'm such a fan of social enterprise is because I'm inspired by the people involved in social enterprise. Because when I look at leadership in social enterprise, like some of my friends here who I've met for the first time, I see honesty, I see integrity, and I see humility. And that's what social enterprise is. So there'll be a video now. Thanks for listening to me waffling on. But yeah, so that's my point. Right. Thanks. So the ending is really, really exciting. But what you need to do is you need to go to our website to find out more. So, thank you.
So I can think right now there are probably several people in the audience that want to find out about that ending. And want to ask David a few more questions, maybe about some of those challenges he was talking about or some other successes. So through the app that you have, you can submit a question through the event app. Please be clear and concise. Submit one question at a time and make clear to whom the question is directed. Was that clear? Clear. All right. Got to use my computer voice. Please make sure that the question is clear and concise. All right. Social enterprise, starting from right here, home for some, in Edinburgh, Scotland, is across the globe. So we're going to go east to Indonesia and hear from Helene about another approach to social enterprise and what it's doing there.
Thank you. Right. I will need my clicker.
All right. Let's give her a big hand as she...
Hi, thank you for having me here. For My name is Helianti Hilman. I set up a social enterprise called JAVARA Indonesia 10 years ago to bring back forgotten food to the global market for the reasons that we believe that bringing back this heritage food biodiversity not only creating impact for the indigenous farmers and smallholder farmers, but also for consumers that are looking for healthier options for the diets, for the ingredients. So this is a bit sum up about what we do. It seems nice, isn't it? As much as I'm very grateful with the achievement that we have, we started from only 10 farmers, 8 products. We now grow into 900 products, 52,000 farmers. We started from door-to-door sales. Now we are exporting to 23 countries. But for you who attended my session last year at Christchurch, I always said that being a social entrepreneur, you always have to love problems, because problems will give you the adrenalines to find solutions to the problems. But I guess I love problems too much, which I come across with more problems that I have to solve. And it's amazing that the last 1 year, can I have also my presentation slides, please? So now I would like to talk about the progression of the challenges, because once we seem to solve, bringing the supply chain, but then we realized we have more problems because we rely our supplies of forgotten food to the indigenous communities, to the smallholder farmers. But when you have a country where you are losing 1 million farmers every year, then you know where the challenge is. Basically, you are getting less and less people that will work with you to supply the forgotten ingredients. So this is when we started with JAVARA. We expect that we do have the food sources and we do have the market, and which we did. We do have the market. But then we are forced to go into the educational business because we are losing 1 million farmers every year. And the only way we can bring back the young generations into farming is that if we make farming a sexy and hip profession. not enough, increasing the income alone is not enough. It has to be a pride and dignity that comes with it. So we believe that the only way we can do that is that we need to transform farmers from a simple commodity producers into an added value food entrepreneurs, and that they can enjoy a better income, but also a better pride and dignity, because they don't call themselves not only as a farmers, but also as a food entrepreneurs. So it was quite successful, and I'm happy to be in the forum where we receive a lot of support. I think it's surprising that a small startup initiative on our School of Food Artisans, which basically is a school that helps farmers to become food entrepreneurs, it attracts the supports from different countries. So this is where you said that, doing a social entrepreneurs is about inspiring, is about, getting the collaborations. And I'm really grateful that the collaborations that happening in this kind of forum is amazing. We receive support from Work Together Foundation from Korea. We receive support from the New Zealand government for our school. We receive support from the Australian government. So it makes our work become so borderless. But again, after we started to work successfully bringing back the young generations into farming, we started the first program we ran. All the students that enroll to our programs are above 40 years old. But now we have 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old are enrolling to our programs. So this is quite a progress. But then we have another problem. The problem is that because they are food startups with a very small scale productions, no supermarket are willing to take their products because it's too small, and they consider it to be unsustainable supply. So we decided, okay, fine, if nobody's going to take their products, so we created our own concept store. So this is a concept store that we started. We just launched this month in Jakarta, and we're starting another one in Bali next month. Basically, this is a place where we bring together, we allow the consumers to enjoy the full experience, not only of doing the shopping, but also testing, because we have the restaurants, but also we have cooking classes. And we have a place where the farmers can have their stage to tell their stories. So this is basically a completely different kind of business, which is a retail business. So basically this is the new concept store that we have, and I'm quite impressed because even we haven't launched it, we already have a queue lining up on organizations or people that wants to do programs in our concept store. So basically the idea is, all of a sudden I started with one, and then created more problems, which I need to come up with more solutions. And then I come up from just a simple supply chain business into educational business, and I'm forced to do also retail business. So, but this is something that was interesting about the social entrepreneurs. You cannot stop. You cannot give up. People always ask me because it's not easy. I'm sure everybody who are a social entrepreneurs knows that it's not easy. My companies has not been bankable for 8 years. No banks are interested into our organizations. So it's not easy to scale up or to outreach more without having the financial supports. But what really strikes us to keep going, because all these indigenous farmers, they never give up. And I think I will be too embarrassed if I give up as well. So we don't know how successful this school will be, how successful the retail business will be. Probably I will need the next year's session, next year forum, before we can tell, how it goes. But, basically I'm really grateful with this kind of forums because it brings together different skills, different networks, different supports that makes these initiatives become interesting. And I think what really enjoyable for me is that surprisingly, we have been receiving requests from different countries to replicate what we started. So I'm very open to share what our journey is, and basically for those countries, especially that are dealing with the declining numbers of the farmers, which I think we're not the only one. I think it's a very common issue. So this is something that probably our game is to bring back farming into a sexy and hip profession. Thank you.
Well done.
Well, that was a beautiful presentation from Heli. Well, Mike, you're already standing.
Okay.
It's all right, Mike. Just lock and load. You can throw the questions on.
All right. Good afternoon. It's such an honor to be here. I have to say, over the last couple of years, as I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world and represent DC Central Kitchen, I would open my mouth and people would hear my accent and they'd say, "Oh, you're from the States." And I'd say, "No, Canada." But unfortunately, I have too many Canadian friends here, and I know they're not going to let me get away with that here. So yes, I am from the United States. I am from Washington, D.C. And I'm really, really sorry. We hope that we will do better for you soon. But I do think with the madness that is happening, and when we have amoral and intellectually bankrupt folks in charge who have abdicated leadership and are trafficking instead in hatred and bigotry and racism, and that are tearing people down to make themselves look better and demonizing the other, to instill fear to control, our work is only more important. And what we do, where we can show that we not only welcome diversity and difference, but revel in it, and that we can do good and do well and create the kind of change that we want to see in our communities and around the world. And that's okay, cool. And at DC Central Kitchen, this is a quick, the who, the what, the why, our theory of action and change. On the far left, you can see what we do. In the center, we talk about who we do it with. And for the purposes of today, and maybe even the next couple of days, the why is really important. Why we do what we do is to break the cycle of hunger and poverty. And we do that to check ourselves. We want to make sure we hit our triple bottom line. Those three things that are up there: creating meaningful opportunities for meaningful careers, expanding access to healthy food, and testing innovative solutions to systemic failures. I have a whole bunch of slides here that go through the numbers since the first forum 10 years ago when our founder Robert Egger was here, but I want to move forward to this one, 71 million. This is our 2017 social impact footprint. And this is not a Trumpian number. This is real. This can be verified. This is transparent. I actually have sheets with me that I'm happy to share. This is a social return on investment formula that we created using academic data, government data, and other third-party data to show the value of what we do. And to think about this for a second, this is one organization in the basement of a crumbling homeless shelter in Washington, D.C. $71 million a year. And think about the tens, if not hundreds of millions, billions of dollars of impact in this room. And the tens of billions of dollars of impact from organizations that aren't represented here. Yet, I am certain that you, like me, have had an incident or a conversation probably fairly recently. And actually, Ian from Scotland, Zero Waste Scotland, yesterday or 2 days ago in Glasgow mentioned an incident that he had when someone said to him, some genius said to him, you social enterprises, you know what you really need to do? You need to act and think more like businesses. Well, besides how wildly insulting that comment is, it shows a stunning lack of understanding of the depth and breadth and nuance of our work. If business were so good, and again, I'm not bashing business entirely, but if it were so good, so all-knowing, so omnipresent, omniscient, we wouldn't be here. There wouldn't be a Social Enterprise World Forum. If business paid more attention to those triple bottom lines that I mentioned, the unseen value that don't appear on a typical profit and loss statement, we wouldn't have to be here to clean up the mess. And the conversation that we really want to inspire is we want to hear those people say, you know, you businesses, you really need to start acting and thinking more like social enterprises. Mm-hmm. And so, in much the same way that social enterprise was a reaction to the inability of business to do everything it needed to do, to be inclusive, to create change, to be equitable, DC Central Kitchen was really created in a reaction to the fact that the charity system, and we started out more as a typical straight nonprofit charity, that the charity system in America had been corrupted in such a way that it had become more about the redemption of the giver and not the liberation of the receiver. And so the kitchen was designed to be a place that was all about liberation. And when we think about liberation, we think about opportunities, we think about new chances, we think about becoming everything we want to be, to being part of something bigger. And oftentimes when we talk about that at the kitchen, we think of the men and women who come to our training program out of incarceration, out of addiction, women who have been abused, who have been trafficked, folks who have suffered homelessness, unemployment. But I have a colleague who's recently retired from the kitchen, and he liked to say that everyone who comes to the kitchen is a little broken, is looking for something more. And that was true with me. I was incredibly fortunate, quite honestly. I had a wonderful family and incredible opportunities throughout my life that I worked hard to take advantage of. I ended up in the hospitality business, and I worked my tail off to own my own restaurant, the pinnacle of my career. On the outside, it looked great. It was busy. We were part of this community. The food was great. But behind the scenes, I was struggling mightily. And there were nights when I would be, after a 16-hour day, I'd be packing up the deposit, and I knew that every penny I was putting in the bank was already spent. And I had a delivery coming in tomorrow and payroll the day after that, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I would get in my car and I'd drive, and I'd often think about looking for a tree to drive into or a cliff to drive off. Well, luckily I didn't. And after I was really forced into a corner, all those people that I felt embarrassed to tell what was happening and that I was going to be shamed in front of were right there to help me, but I didn't know what was next. And then I found an opportunity at DC Central Kitchen. I never dreamed that I could take everything that I had learned in my life and done as an entrepreneur in the restaurant business and put it to work in a business making money, but creating opportunity, empowerment, liberation. So I don't know if the kitchen actually saved my life, but I know it changed my life. And it changed it in ways that I never imagined. About a year and a half into my tenure at DC Central Kitchen, we had we'll say a dialogue, for lack of a better word, with the District of Columbia government. We were providing meals for them for 17 years for free for their shelters, and they wanted us to do more, and we wanted to do more, but we needed their money to help us do that. And we were going through about a year process to where they would actually pay for some of this, for some of these meals. And we got to the point after going through, again, painful time, where all we had to do was get a contract. They had to produce a contract, and we had to sign it. And they kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And after 3 months, we said no. This is a picture of Robert Egger, our founder, and myself. When we, and this is from an article in the Washington Post, we said, you know what? If we were a real business, if you valued what we do, if you saw what we did not as charity, not as something extra, not as something cute, but as something important, something vital to this city, the economic vitality of this city, you would not be doing this to us. So we're going to do something crazy. We're going to go on strike. And until you deliver us that contract, we're not going to deliver food to those shelters. And what Robert and I decided we were going to do then, to make this point and to show that it was part of a bigger issue, is that we said we're not going to eat either. So that started what became an 8-day strike. In case you're wondering, I've gained the weight back. And we got what we wanted, what we deserved, what we had earned, what we were valued at. And that really created a shift from DC Central Kitchen from being a sort of a classic, again, nonprofit dabbling in earned revenue to a full-on social enterprise operation that still did social services. And over that period of time, we've earned about $50 million in social enterprise revenue. And that was a profound shift for DC Central Kitchen, but also a profound time for me. It was a time when I was scared, not knowing what was going to happen to me or the organization, but it was also a time when I had never been so sure that what I was doing was right. It was also a time when I felt incredibly alone, but also a time when I had never felt more part of something bigger. And I reflected on that. I had that same feeling this summer, a couple months ago, when I was fortunate enough to be invited to attend a ceremony in Arlington Cemetery to mark the anniversary of the 50th anniversary of the death of Bobby Kennedy. And I was sitting in that amphitheater outside in a beautiful sunny day by myself, but surrounded by about 1,000 other people. And I thought of this picture. It's a picture of Bobby campaigning in 1968. A summer of hope in America that was crushed when Dr. King was murdered, and then a couple months later, Bobby. But at this time, in this picture, to me, it represented all that feeling I had back in 2006 when we were on that strike, where there was a frenzy to be part of something bigger, to be part of something more. Sort of like what we're doing here today, this weekend. Just reaching out and saying, we can be better. We know we can, if we can do this together. And at that event, a couple of people in Bobby's family spoke, President Clinton spoke, but the others who were on the program just read Bobby's words. And Emma Gonzalez, who's a young student activist from Parkland, Florida, trying valiantly and bravely to change our insane gun laws in the United States of America, read part of Bobby's speech from Cape Town, South Africa, 1966, when he said, "Each time someone stands up for an ideal, or strikes out against injustice, or works to improve the lot of another, they send forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing from 1 million centers of daring and energy, those ripples create a wave that can wash down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance." You are those ripples. And together, my brothers and sisters, we are that wave, and we will wash down the walls of oppression and resistance.
Wow. Mike?
Yes.
Is that why you were running up?
Yes.
Right.
I didn't want to forget it.
All right. No, another round of applause for these amazing, inspiring people. So I've got some of your questions up here. Keep them coming. But I would like to see if I can make a straight sentence. So you said that being a social entrepreneur, the best of social enterprise, was being able to inspire others to start a change, as you were inspired. Mm-hmm. And as Mike has just inspired us today, with that call to, to spark, to be that wave, crash down walls. Yeah, that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said we have to love problems. Make some things look sexy. That about making the farmers program look great to the youth. About not being of being a part of something much, much bigger than ourselves. I think that's what pretty much I've taken from today. To be part of something bigger, to not give up, to love problems. Now to do that, you have to love my country. No, to be fair, maybe so that's such a great joke. We are at the bottom of the GDP scale. Just Google it. It's true. And to inspire others. All right. So after those amazing 30 minutes, there are a few questions for David, Ellie, and Mike. And I think we can start with, this can go to all of us up here at this point, that as you are conducting these best practices, not giving up, inspiring others, and moving on with your initiatives, have you ever assisted others outside of your impact zone or country? So I can you start with David.
Yeah, I think it's quite frequent, isn't it? We in lots of enterprises in here will be the same. You're always hosting other organisations, bring them in to show what you do and share some of the value and some of the stuff that you've done, you know. So it's something that you kind of do every day almost, you know. And we're working in partnership with a number of organisations, not just in Scotland but outside, in terms of sharing our ideas, but also looking at shared resources and stuff like that. So it's kind of part and parcel of what you do.
Right. Remember you were in Namibia, is it?
Oh, that was a long time ago. It was 2006.
Okay, so then we don't have to talk about it. Okay, that's fine. All right, so Helianti?
Yes, actually there are many ways. I agree that basically, I think that's what makes social entrepreneurs different with the normal entrepreneur. Social entrepreneur, we don't recognize actually competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
We like collaborates, and in many ways we also help to nurture our competitors, and that's what makes social entrepreneurs are different. And yes, we did so many different kind of things where we help to nurture other organizations either in Indonesia or outside of Indonesia. First, we do have internship program, and our interns is not only hosting Indonesians but also outside of Indonesia. We have so many different nationalities. And second thing is that there are a lot of visits from different kind of farmers from the Asians, from Asian countries, from Korea, from India, Philippines. So basically we do that. And then the third is that basically we are making our platform so open that is basically everybody is easy to learn. So it's because our business is a very transparent. So basically it's nothing, nothing hidden. At the end of the day, it's really about, doing the action. So the more people are willing to do it, more people are working directly with the farmers and, bring them closer with the consumers, then it will be a better place.
All right.
Yeah. I think David said something great in his introduction, that when people ask, why don't you go to England or Ireland or somewhere else to do it, we get those kinds of questions as well. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And this is something that I think we have to, as social entrepreneurs, we have to fight against this push of scale. Everyone is so fascinated by scale. What we want to do is scale the idea, right? Scale the concept. And it's our obligation, I believe. And our staff gets a little cheesed off sometimes because we do this so much, but it says our obligation is to share this, but it has to work for the place where it's working. And what works in DC isn't going to work in Scotland or in Indonesia or Buffalo or Philadelphia or Austin, Texas. It has to be of that place, but it can be used what we need to share. And again, it's our obligation, and it's remarkable. I don't know who said this, certainly not our president. But it's remarkable what one can accomplish if you don't care about who gets the credit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think you're right. I think often the downside in society, and sometimes you see it in business as well, is like this rat race to the summit. And it's an individual rat. So it's, I wanted to be the best. I want to get to the top fastest. And when you do that, often you kind of trample on others, whereas social enterprise is actually holding hands and getting to that summit together. And I think that's really key.
That's actually an African proverb.
Is it?
Yeah. They say if you want to go fast, go alone. You can be the Flash, you just go,
But you say Bolt?
Bolt?
Yeah.
You prefer Bolt to Flash? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you can be Bolt.
Yeah, okay.
But if you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, that's very interesting to hear that in Scotland. I guess it's a global perspective now.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so we've looked at impact outside, sharing the idea, the concept, and then it being locally adjusted there, not one size fits all, not this worked here, it's going to work all over the world, which has been some bad practice, not best practice. But this was directed to David.
Okay.
Was there ever a challenge early on in starting street soccer that made you feel as if this is it, I'm going to do something else?
Probably every day, to be honest. No, not really. I mean, I think it's all about the people you support and the people that you serve. You know, so like, we all have bad days at the office. We all have. But actually, take football out, take social enterprise out. We're here to serve. You know, and it's about the people that we support that kind of keeps us going. You know, through kind of difficult times, through trying to make ends meet and make sure you've got enough in the bank to pay staff. Because these are all the things that you experience when you're setting up an enterprise. You know, it takes longer to sustain a social enterprise than it does an enterprise, because often we put our profits directly into change, and we're constantly doing that. We're constantly trying to achieve social impact. You know, but no, I mean, I feel very blessed to be in a position where I get to do something that I'm passionate about. So for me to complain or want to give it up I wouldn't be in the right job.
All right. So it's about every day, but you just keep going.
Yeah, it becomes a way of life. You know, it kind of takes over. Because I was having a chat last night to somebody and I was trying to go non-work chat. So what are you up to? Non-work chat? And I'm trying to think, my life revolves around work. I couldn't actually think. So I was trying to make things up that I was actually doing, which wasn't work related. Maybe that's just me.
Well, I think what we do the hard stuff, right? So it better be challenging.
Yes.
Like, anyone else can do the easy stuff. That's what we're to take the hard stuff, show that it can be done, and then step on to the next hard thing.
All right.
I think you operate better when your back's against the wall. Well, personally, do you know what I mean? I just think sometimes when you're up against it, you kind of come out fighting more, and it's more of a challenge. I mean, I personally hate operational stuff. I like trying to problem solve and try to navigate my way through things.
Yep.
Right. So if it wasn't challenging, it wouldn't be worth it.
Probably not.
We love the challenging stuff.
Yeah.
The everyday of being challenged. Okay. All right. So looking at challenges, Helene, when you were up talking about the presentation, you were talking about financial investment in social enterprises being not that great in Indonesia. Some people in the audience wanted to know that if you were not getting direct financial investment, what did you do to move forward?
So I have to work around it.
Okay.
So because my business is about supplying, doing tradings. So basically what I did is, of course, the first source of finance is your family, friends, and fools. Who trust you.
Take that again slowly.
Family, friends, and fools.
And fools, okay.
Who trust you enough with their money. And then these resources become so exhausted while you are growing. So we have to find different ways. So what we did is that a lot of people saying that, you know, most of the farmers that we work with, they always say that their problems are two. One is to find access to market, and second is access to finance. But we find that is a wrong statement, because when you have a winning champion products, you will not find it difficult to find the market. The market will find you. Wow. And when you get the market, and when you get the purchase order or indication of purchase order, that's when the money comes in, because then you can take that purchase order to someone and then it's like, look, I have the purchase order. This is a very reliable company. I need this much and I'll give you a profit sharing. Okay. You know, this is my margin and this is the profit sharing. So that's how I did go about. But eventually last year, finally, a bank decided to finance us.
Wow.
And we thought fixed asset collaterals, because actually the nightmare for us is every bank wants a fixed asset collaterals. And often it will be 120% of the loans that you want to get, which if I have 120%, that's why I will go to find the loan. So basically, eventually we managed to find a bank that trusted the brand. So that's when we started to realize the importance of the brand, not only for us, but also we help the farmers to build their brands, because the accumulations of the farm brands, the farmers' brands, become the collective brands that give the weight to the overall movement.
Yeah.
So basically we are a company that creates company at the rural level, that nurtures rural companies and nurtures the rural brands. And that all together creates, as you said, the wave.
All right. That is some deep entrepreneurial wisdom from a lawyer.
It's a past life, yeah.
It's a past life, all right. So still speaking on investment, Mike, what is it like in your environment?
Investment?
Yep.
Well, we've seen actually tomorrow there's going to be a masterclass on investment.
Oh, cool! I'm signing up.
But what we've really seen is that social enterprise has spurred investment in our larger organization in the work that we do in ways that were impossible and we never dreamed of before we really were into and became a business. So we've seen the investment, whether it's from foundations, corporations, individuals, government even, follow track right along with our increase in revenue in a stunning way. And I think it makes complete sense. We for a long time have, again, wanted to get away from this notion of the fact that we were a charity, that what we do is cute, it's nice, and it's okay over here. And this idea that we've had in charities, at least in America, of saying, just throw me your pennies and I'll solve your dollar problems. It's not a great business model. We wanted people to value who we were and not look at giving money to us as a gift or a donation, but as an investment. And so when people invest, they want to know their money is safe. So if another funder leaves or there's a hiccup in the market, that we're going to be okay, we're going to be sustainable. So I think this is why social enterprise is such the model for the future, because it does not only generates income, creates jobs, but it inspires, I believe, investment.
Right. No, it's good to hear it's inspiring investment, even under the new government.
Well, crazy. I mean, people are scared to death of this guy. So, we're seeing people are handing us money, saying, "Please, you're going to need it." Or, right after the election, people were like, we usually give $5,000, but I'm giving you 10 this year because God knows what's going to happen.
Oh,
so,
wow. Okay.
But it could go sideways. We'll see how after this tax year the dust settles on that.
Well, we're glad that the new government is working in the favor of social enterprise in America. That's really reassuring. All right.
Whether they know it or not.
Amen to that. David.
Yep.
Some people wanted to know, how does street soccer make its money, since we're talking about finance?
So obviously, so it's slightly more tricky for us to generate income because we deliver services to people, support services, football programmes. So what we've had to do is create a way of generating income through kind of 4 key strands. So obviously, there's an element of grant. So from whether it be Scottish Government, local government, grants and trusts. So there's that one element. And then what we've done is started creating events. So we have business club events, we have business club memberships, we have corporate partnerships in terms of sponsorship deals to carry logos on our jerseys and stuff. We do an annual gala dinner. We do kind of golf days, and so it's always about trying to make these kind of transactions where we're not just asking for a donation, we're giving someone an experience in return, so that generates income. And then we've also just about to launch our own merchandise next week, actually, our own merchandise line as well, which again, rather than asking someone for a donation, it's making a transaction, it's giving someone something for their money, and that's the way we kind of like to do it, and there's contract work involved as well, where there's actually been other large charities who's paid us to come in and deliver a particular service because of the social return on investment of some of the work. So our last kind of independent kind of evaluation kind of brought back a 10 to 1 social return on investment. So for every £1 we spend, we create £10 of social net value.
So you're creating your own merchandise. Does this mean we'll get jerseys?
Yeah, you'll definitely get one. Yes. But yeah, I mean, it's just trying to kind of, the challenge is in terms of people in Scotland will know there's so much strain on kind of local authority funding, which then, and there's particular strains around kind of government funding as well. So when that happens, what happens is the market all goes out and pushes into grants and trusts. So they become really tight and squeezed, because some organisations totally rely on commission services from local authority or government. So when there's cutbacks there, it kind of affects everywhere. So I think it's important just to try and keep a range of different income streams, because one will always dry up now and again, and if you've got that to kind of plug the gap, then that should keep the wheels turning.
Right. So diverse income streams.
Yeah, you have to.
So out of curiosity, this would mean that street soccer could be looking for investment, just in case there's an impact investing, especially near the front.
I've never met a social enterprise who isn't.
Right.
Yes.
So they are all looking for investment.
Yeah.
Take a good look. All right, so we will be winding up in a very short space of time. So having exactly 10 seconds each, what would be your last words to this wonderful audience that's been very patient with us?
Sure. I would, well, since you've been patient, I would say be impatient. But also realize that what we do is hard, and it takes time. We refer to it at the kitchen as relentless incrementalism. That we are not going to end hunger tomorrow. We are not going to end poverty tomorrow. But I do know that what we did today is going to make our community better tomorrow. And that, as long as we can do that, then we're heading relentlessly and incrementally into the future.
All right. Hold the applause. Helianti?
Yes. Passion and patience is very much needed.
All right.
Definitely. But I think I would like to highlight that I think I found my work much easier because of the power of collaborations.
Okay.
And that means we have to set aside our ego, organizational ego, making it, as open as possible and as inclusive as possible, because at the end of the day, it's about the cause, not about you, not about your organization, but it's about the cause, and it's a common cause.
All right. So being patient is about the cause, and
just kind of keep being you, keep fighting, keep challenging, keep disrupting. Always kind of stick up for what you believe in. It might not get you into the circles that you want to, but you need to be true to your vision and always kind of base your decision making on why you exist in the first place.
All right. So we can unashamedly give them a large round of applause. Thank you, Zikomo Kwandi.
Exhibitions, and we'll see you soon. Do not forget to register if you can during the coffee break or before you leave the building today.